Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What's up, Sheikh?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What's going on, Akhi? How you feeling?
Abdullah, Abdullah, me and Malik at the masjid.
Oh, y'all are?
Yeah.
It'll probably take me a little bit to get over there.
Oh, you coming this way?
I was thinking about it, but it might take a little bit of time. I think. Hold up.
Open that door, girl. Open that door.
What's the address there?
4821 Pascal.
Pasker?
4821 Pascal.
How you spell that?
Paschall.
Okay. That'll take about 30 minutes.
Why y'all so quiet?
Now we just got on, man.
Oh, I didn't even know. I didn't even know the title of the program.
Who's really wrong?
Who's really wrong?
Yeah. Y'all go ahead. Start. I'm trying to get this joint working on my laptop. I had to log in on my tablet.
All right.
Oh,
So
you got a laptop? What laptop you got?
Chill, son.
Oh, look, he walking around. Look, he got an Apple joint. Look at him. You got a beeper now? You got a beeper now? Oh, man.
Got your
But
jewel
alhamdulillah,
shining. Got your
you got the
jewel
jewel.
shining. And that right there is looking really fresh. It's looking really fresh.
Alhamdulillah.
Got them cleaned up.
All right, here we go. I'm listening, y'all. Let's go.
اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق وخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق وهادي إلى صراطه المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره ومقداره العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما. الحمد لله رب العالمين أفضل الصلاة وتم تسليما على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ورضي الله تعالى عن السادة التابعين وعلماء عاملين وأئمة أربعين مجتهدين مقلديهم إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. الحمد لله رب العالمين. This is the Soullutionz podcast. Took a break during the month of Ramadan, and we'll come upon Eid al-Fitr because we're doing Eid tomorrow. Eid al-Fitr, so we're going to be doing after Maghrib. We're going to be saying the Takbirah after Maghrib, and inshallah ta'ala finish the Takbirah after we pray the Eid Salah. So I did a live earlier today. And basically talking about, wanting to give greetings of Ramadan Mubarak for those who fast in 30 days and Eid Mubarak for those celebrating Eid. Now, alhamdulillah, at Master Uthman Dan Fodio, Tajdeed of Sunnah Institute, we look for the Hilal for every Islamic month, every month. So we never have any confusion or any doubt when Ramadan starts or when Ramadan is going to end. We have no doubt or confusion about when Dhul Hijjah is going to start or when Dhul Hijjah is going to end, or when the 9th of Dhul Hijjah is going to fall on. For the Eid al-Adha. The thing is that the conversation I had with Amir earlier today, as it relates to global sighting and to local sighting, when you actually look at it in perspective in regards to the ayat Well, Allah Ta'ala mentions in Surah Al-Baqarah that I mentioned earlier today that you begin your fast when you sight the Hilal, and you end your fast. You break your fast when you sight the Hilal. If you look at it from that perspective, there is no global sighting, right? The global sighting in our time is based off of the modern technology. However, in the time of the companions, in the time of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, if they cited, if someone cited the Hilal for a month, then the report wouldn't get to them until like after a month or 3 months or however long the distance of travel it'll take to get to Medina and get to Mecca, right? So the thing is that yeah, okay, there's positions, both positions are valid, but in reality, who the title says, who's really wrong, right? Who's really wrong? The one who is really wrong is the one who don't go out and look for the Hilal in the first place, and that's my take. If you don't go out and look for the Hilal in the first place, if you don't get trained on how to sight the Hilal, if you're not in a Jamaat, if you're not associated or connected to a community with an organizational structure, with a leader, with a Amir, then then you're actually winging it and going off your own whims and desires. Because if you're not looking for the Hilal, then you're doing taqlid. In the taqlid that they call what they describe taqlid as blind following. Because actually taqlid is not blind following. Taqlid is following qualified scholarship. But in the case of citing the Hilal, you're actually doing blind following. Because you didn't go out and cite it. And the one thing that each individual must learn how to do is to cite the Hilal. Now it's not a fardu ayn, it's a fardu kifaya. Right? That's clear. It's a fardu kifaya, meaning that there has to be someone or a group of people or 3 or 4 people that knows how to cite the Hilal. And they have to go out and they look for the Hilal every month. Right? The individual who is an astronomer who knows the science of calculating the days, calculating the months, um, calculating the years.
There you go with that astronomer.
That I'm just, but it's
Hey, son, he's irrelevant to us.
but
The astronomer don't have no place in
the
today's
only,
time.
the only reason why I mentioned the astronomy, the science of astronomers and astronomy, is because they're mentioned. They're mentioned in the books of fiqh, right?
Yeah, but
Because
the calculator, like Imam Malik said, anybody who calculates don't deserve to be followed. We
no,
can't give them that special place,
no,
because what's happening now is you have
they
brothers that's telling you the moon was born last night at 7 p.m. and then based on that, they're saying, yo, it's impossible for it to be seen, and then you go outside and see it. He's irrelevant.
no,
That's
he
part of
can't.
the problem of today's time.
He
They,
can't.
they, they're putting they're doing what happened to Christianity. You're putting too much science involved in it. Islam has the answers. Christianity didn't have a rebuttal against science. We control science. We know that the ultimate end is all with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All this calculation, like even our prayer times is calculated. All that is based on the astronomer. The
Like
astronomer, the 15 degrees, the 18 degrees, Fajr is later when it's on 15 degrees, it's early on the 18 degrees. All that stuff, what does it lead to? Back to doubt. That's why I said the astronomer. I know what you're saying. We done had this conversation many times. But what happens is when you throw too much terminology to people and all that, they start running with it. The global sighting is a hoax. And reason why it's a hoax, one, what is the principle? The principle is like the Prophet ﷺ said, fast when you see it, break when you see it, right? If you see it, you stop fasting. If you don't see it, you go another day. Taking a sighting or a witness, a statement from someone else, that's a person that's coming to the Amir. Not somebody send you a text message 12 o'clock in the afternoon. That's what's happening. And then, and even like the whole thing within the African American community as well, that joint, it's a sad thing because for real, they didn't finish out what our elders started. What our elders started was Jamaat. They had Jamaats all over the United States. And at that time, they were like, yo, look, we gonna, I'll call, see if you seen it. Hey, you see it? Hey, did you see it? Hey, did you see it? So on and so forth. And they coordinated like that. Islam has evolved. There's too much knowledge. You have the learning fiqh now and the application of fiqh. We can't keep running on things that was founded almost 30, 40 years ago. You can't keep running on that. The Imams did that, the Shura. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I know about Imam Jamil. Imam Jamil will go visit brothers in little tiny towns and encourage them to start Jamaats. We don't have Jamaats no more. And this fake, black revolution, I don't care about Saudi. All these dudes are going with Saudi. And they feel sad if they're not on the same day. We worried about unifying on a day with somebody halfway across the world. But what happens when it comes to Salah? Nobody even cares about if we praise Lord at the same time as they praise Lord in Saudi. Right? I asked the question yesterday. I was being a little facetious. I said, yo, if it's Lord time in America, but you've seen it in Saudi, and you're saying Ramadan is over, should we immediately stop eating and just go ahead and celebrate? They said, no, wait till Maghrib. I said, but why? Because the determinant of when you're going to sight, determinant of sighting to see the hilal or not is when, at what time? Maghrib. So why are we going with something halfway around the world? The immigrant community only goes with the so-called global sighting because they're connected to their people back home. Americans only go with a sighting from everybody in the United States or halfway across the world is because they haven't updated what's a jurisdiction, the jurisdiction of Matla, what they're going to determine. They haven't updated none of that stuff. There hasn't been. If you're in Philadelphia or in on the East Coast, there's no way in heck you should be taking sightings from the West Coast because their Maghrib is after ours. There's no way, right? Then you can't even, and when you do this kind of stuff, just don't attribute it to the Messenger of Allah because it doesn't have nothing to do with the Sunnah. If at best it's a rukhsah, it's a concession, right? It's okay if you start out like that. It's like, it reminds me of a statement that Sheikh Umar Vidilio put in one of his books. He said a rukhsah is like, and he gave the example from the Quran. If you're on your deathbed, if a person is dying, right, and he's on his deathbed, okay, and he's dying from starvation, is it or is it not permissible to consume pork at that time? Right? He could eat pork at that time, okay? Now, that doesn't mean you go and barbecue a whole pig. You eat just enough to give you back the energy or whatever it is that brings you back. And like Umar Fidilio used to say, you don't go making a whole pig factory. You don't go and get a pig farm and start raising pigs, start selling pig, chopping it up, and selling pork chops and everything else. Bro, we haven't updated our dossier. We just stopped at that level. So now at the time of Maghrib, right, because leaders are supposed to be men of action, right? So at Maghrib, dudes are just sitting around sipping coffee, scrolling through their timeline, talking about everybody else. Get a text message, anybody see anything? And then on top of that, all of this clandestine sighting. Nobody tells you who sighted the moon, right? No, they'll never tell you who sighted the moon. With us, we go out here, who's with us, right? We take pictures of the hilal and things like that, except for in the past when our cameras was trash. But we got much better cameras now, right? Did all that stuff, and then people still be like, you sure you seen the moon? It was possible you seen the moon? Nah, dude, we just standing out here just for the hell of it. And we just want to lie and tell everybody we seen the moon just so we can be different, right? And then the sad part is the mass body of people, a lot of them just hungry. They just want to eat. So when they get a text message 12 o'clock in the afternoon, I'll be surprised if they finish and make it till Maghrib. Because you just declared that Ramadan was over. Ramadan's over. So then it's like, damn, do I make it when I make up the day that I missed? You know, we're not gonna learn enough. You remember that year? I know you remember this, Malik. 28-day Ramadan. You remember that joint? Dudes went 28 days and they blamed it on Ali ibn Abi Talib, Saudi. 28 days, right? So you know these are the kind of things, and then to make it because we're not governed by people's emotions. We're not governed by anything other than the fiqh, in which the fiqh is governed or is connected to the Kitab wa Sunnah. It's in the Quran. Fast when you see it, break when you see it, right? The hadith is tawatir. If you open up Sahih Muslim and look up the category on Moonsight, there's about 18 to 21 narrations that says the same exact thing. Break when you see it. No, fast when you see it, break when you see it. If there's any type of obscurities, then you wait 30 days. You are safer waiting the 30th day. Alaikum salam to the castle. You are safer waiting the 30th day versus going to somebody that you don't even know who half the people are. You're taking a thing that started off as something that was, to help people, and now you exaggerate to the point that you don't even look no more. And then you have the people, in the Jamaat going out looking, doing the favor of looking, and they still get disregarded. I remember that year when there was people in Georgia. It was, I don't know, it had to be at least about 20 brothers. You know what I'm saying? And it was just so overwhelming. Everybody was out looking, right? You have what's the Imam down in Alabama. You had the Imam in Alabama who Y'all there? Or did I freeze? Am I frozen?
I'm not. Can you hear me? I'm not frozen.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear everybody. So anyway, you had an Imam down in Imam Aswan down in Mobile, Alabama, every single month, right? Every time it comes to Ramadan, because everybody now is, all of a sudden, they want to fulfill that pillar of Islam, and they know it's based on moon sighting. They ignore all the other months, and so you don't really know what day it is, and so that's why you just go off of anything. You go off of anything. Any sighting is good. Any sighting is always good. That's where the whole concept of a global sighting comes from, right? There's only 3 ways. One is absolute. If you see it, fast. The second one is if you don't see it, do 30 days. The third one is it's just a rukhsah. Take someone else to take what you hear from someone else, right? And who did that person go to? Just create a mass text and send it to everybody and say it because somebody else said? No, they go to that leader, and that leader spreads the information. But this thing is done so carelessly now, right? It's done so carelessly, and the method is ancient, right? And what's sad is the real ancient method of going out and actually looking is something that's being avoided. People aren't looking no more. It's a lie. It's a lie. And how many years you got to sit back, stand by, and just keep watching everybody play this game, right? People are even regressing. Communities used to go out and look, and now because they feel, I want to be with everybody else, bro. We don't pray the same time with everybody for Isha, but we still unified. Why is it all of a sudden now we care about being connected to halfway across the world? You already know what the immigrants' problem is, but the Americans, what in the world is going on?
It's an emotional thing.
Sad.
It's an emotional thing now, Khalil. As I said to you earlier, right? I said, you brought it up geographically. If we say, okay, we're going to wait for Nevada to see if they see the moon. We're by the time they reach Maghrib, we're already in Isha. Our day starts. That's a whole nother Islamic day. So now we have to fast due to us changing the day. And it's like we're avoiding that too. We're eliminating that. By the time you wait for a place in the West Coast, which is 3 hours after us, they already we're entering Isha. Our day starts over. That's a whole nother Islamic day. So now we're waiting for an opinion from somebody where our day just have changed. So regardless of the matter, we can't fast on this time with them because our day changed. Nobody's seen it from our side. The day has changed. So we have to fast 30 days. But due to emotions, and I blame this on the new society now, that we're so emotional that we want to feel involved with everybody. We don't want to feel left out. That we're looking for this. We're going back to, well, if Saudi said it, then we must see it the next day. No. It shows Saudi has not been reliable for the past how long? They even put out something a few months ago. They even put out something a few months ago say do not look at us for any religious aspects anymore.
Wait.
Any religious duties.
Well, answer this, Saleh. What about the angry black man that we don't rely on Saudi, but they go with some other country? What's the difference? What's the difference? What is the difference? Y'all want to be? It's all about uniformity, and people pick and choose when they want to use it. Unity is unifying. If you look over there and wherever you at, and we're nowhere near each other, and they look, guess what? We're unified. How are we unified? Based off of the fact that we're doing exactly what Allah Ta'ala and His Prophet Sallallahu told us to do. Anything else is just uniformity. Everybody want to reject the thobe, a niqab, a khimar, khufs. I ain't wearing no uniform. Oh, yeah, but you uniform. You're uniform when it comes to sighting. It becomes a uniform based on the sighting. That's when everybody's uniform. They put they want to look. Oh, we got to do it on the same exact day. And then on top of that, one principle in Aqidah, we got to understand this, right? There's a principle in Aqidah that Allah Ta'ala is not coerced, right? He's mukhtar, right? He has choice, right? And as is mentioned, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala can complete a thing or leave it undone, and it's still considered perfect and pure, right? Perfected, right? So what is the problem if you see it here, they don't see it over there? What is the problem with that? What is the issue in reality, right? There shouldn't be no issue. If you happen to see the moon, they didn't see it. So the Prophet ﷺ already told us that there's going to be a time that, because if you don't see it, then complete 30. And then you have the example from the companions with the narration of Quraib. Quraib and Ibn Abbas ran into each other. Then he asked him, we celebrate, we celebrated. When did you celebrate? Oh, we just started this day. Isn't the testimony of Muawiyah enough? What did Ibn Abbas say? No. So why is it that we got it all figured out 1,300 years later? Why do we figure that's the old way? That you got to be careful of that American Islam. American Islam is very close to synonymous with, we ain't worried about what the Messenger of Allah say. You got to remember that it has that undertone to it. It has that undertone. There's some things you can't compromise on. One of the things that you found in the inner cities, especially amongst the Black American communities, is that we were not afraid to practice Islam outwardly and openly. And then you had the group that wasn't afraid to practice Islam, but they still wanted to look and show that they're still connected to Uncle Jeffrey, right? Now with Uncle Jeffrey, the thing is, go back to the Black movement, and with the Uncle Jeffrey, with those people who are doing what? Those people who are part of the so-called revolution, they had that, we need our own. We need to be alone. And then you had the other people saying, man, y'all crazy. we need to be with them. What are you talking about? See, that person is
Yo,
radical and what they're talking. It's the same thing that's happening.
all right, but let's get down to the nitty grit. The nitty grit. I remember it was a time when we used to check in with Usman Dunfodio, because Usman Dunfodio was the people that was outside putting in the legwork. Somehow now, the people who used to rely on them is not relying on the people who used to put in that legwork anymore due to any personal reasons. The sunnah is the sunnah no matter who is it coming from. My personal problems with someone should not be a standard on why we're not taking from these people and intend to go something out of the norm that goes against the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's not sugarcoat or beat around the bush. That's the problem. The problem is right now is that for some personal reason, the people that's Ahl Sunnah is going against the people who's putting in the legwork of going out there every day, sacrificing themselves, looking for the hilal. And for some personal reason, now the people that was together were promoting that we could do almost global sightings when this wasn't something we practiced. So let's get to the nitty gritty.
Someone asked, what's the, did we get some backlash? We always get backlash. However, you know the like what was mentioned, that you know it was a sighting. It was a sighting in California, in Arizona, and New Mexico. However, no one said who. No one said. No one posted any pictures. No one saying any pictures. It's, you know what I'm saying, a few people that saw it that is considered reliable to one or two people. All right. If they cited in their locality and people are going with them, fine. However, that's in America. We, you know what I'm saying, on the East Coast, we go out every month. We didn't see it. No one on the East Coast saw it. So for anticipation of wanting to break their fast early and celebrate Eid, that's what they did. Now, if they, you know what I'm saying, now because what the Prophet ﷺ taught, then basically you don't have an excuse to break your fast and celebrate Eid. You don't really have a valid excuse. Even if it's a valid excuse, doesn't make it a reason. It's still an excuse.
What angers what was asked to end his statement. I'm passionate about it because no one cares about the sunnah. It wouldn't say it if it wasn't being neglected. If someone in California seen it and they fast in California, well, alhamdulillah, they follow the sunnah. There's no problem with that. There's people literally not looking and just keep checking the website, keep checking the website. And it's like, I picked, let me see, I'm gonna go with this one. I'm gonna pick this one. People are taking sides from places that is, we come after them, Maghrib, later on, and it's just too much. It's too simple.
Much. Instead of relying on the people that you know is going
dying because we don't care about it no more. It's not about preservation of your race, your tribe, where you come from. It's about the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. When you envelop yourself in that, then what happens is it'll take care of all the other problems. It'll take care of all your problems. You can't fight over the Mawlid, but then the everyday sunnahs you're negligent over.
I'm gonna get the belt.
And the Mawlid absolutely negligent.
And the Mawlid is clear ikhtilaf amongst the people who celebrate Mawlid or not. That's clear ikhtilaf. The deciding of Ramadan is no ikhtilaf among this. And this is the problem we're having.
Like that, Sister Malik. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying this is the problem we're having. There's no ikhtilaf on fasting or sighting of the moon. It's none. But it is an amount. So why are we making the amount seem like it's something that is based upon his, if he don't celebrate it or not, his Ahl Sunnah is in question. But we're jeopardizing
That's
something, a
fact.
fard ayn. We're jeopardizing a fard ayn to feel comfortable with each other.
That's
Nah, it
fact.
doesn't work like that.
That's facts.
I don't be I don't. Alhamdulillah. My aqeedah is still proper. I don't believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exists in a place. But I have to be in Mawlid to be Ahl Sunnah. But like you said, the Hilal, and we can't, and then, akhi, wallahi, man, Imam Khalil, I seen, watching, just like everybody else, scrolling down here with my thumb, right? Thumb is in action. Thumb is putting in crazy work on Facebook, right? My thumb is putting in work, right? Scrolling down these timelines, right? Knowing that there's people that know you go out there and look at the moon every month. Why aren't you labeled as a reliable source? People got to bring that up. Let's stop the shenanigans. Why aren't you labeled as a reliable source when you go out there and you do it every month? You videotape it. You take pictures. It was a time when I was on my way to work, I said, I spotted them, took a picture, sent you the picture. Reliable sources. Why aren't you a reliable source anymore? For some reason, we're going against the grain. Ahl Sunnah is going against the grain, man.
It just depends on who it is.
But why is that? No, but why?
It depends. In some circles, I'm popular. Some I'm not.
It ain't about being popular. It's about who's doing legwork or not.
No, you're
That's what
absolutely
it's
right.
about.
You know what? I forgot what year it was, but I remember this. We were here in Philly. We sighted the moon. And this was a big controversy. We was even going back and forth with the Magistrate Shore here, and they didn't want to take the sighting yet. But some of the Dioban and Hanafi scholars from New York City came down and met with us about this, about it. And they said they took our sighting. That one time, Imam Siraj came down, verified, talked to the brother on the phone. Because what happened was I was out at another masjid teaching the class. There was another brother from our Jamaat out looking. And, and then the word just like spread like wildfire. So, it's give and take. But this isn't, you don't want to make this, a thing of why not you. The bottom line is that people gave up. They gave up.
Right, but it starts with people. It starts
and it dies out. You have to keep a sunnah going.
But it starts with taking away the sunnah. What is one of the conditions of if someone spotted the moon? What is the criteria of the person? That this person, he must be upright. He must be, he must be known for all these type of things, right? So I'm not saying why you, but to go against the grain. We're not citing these things, and we're relying on people where the masses don't know that they're putting in the legwork.
The one brother is seeing the Hilal, and they started asking him, well, what directions was the horns of the Hilal and all this other stuff, and what time it was impossible for you to see it because the moon was supposed to be born at 7:15, and it's impossible. There's no way all of this stuff. That's why once again I was, I'm not negating. You already know that, Mom. We done had this conversation 1,000 times, but people aren't looking on. I'm not negating what Imam Muhammad is saying. What I'm saying is the astronomer is part of the problem. He's part of the problem because you use it for calculation. And so then he'll say, oh, it's supposed to be at this time and born at this time. The pre-calculation and calculation, they're all in the same boat. Right? Saudi isn't the only. Matter of fact, if Saudi declared Ramadan to be in Saudi and they happen to be today, they were correct in what they follow because they're dealing with their own lands.
Their land, exactly.
When everybody starts to take it and make it as if it has to be widespread amongst everyone, that's where the problem comes into play at. We're not the only one that has this problem. We're not the only one that do it. There's other countries that had the same issue. There are other people that had the same issue. But the thing is that you don't want to neglect and leave a sunnah. Like for instance, a lot of people, they probably, outside of a masjid, who still calls the adhan when they're about to make salat in their own home? People probably don't, right? So the more you don't make the adhan, right, and everything, just the iqamah, and then the people that's watching that come up that pray with you and so on and so forth, you think they're gonna call the adhan? No, they're not gonna call the adhan. Because why? Because that's something that you just tucked away. You don't need to do it no more. That's how we look at it. Like, oh, you don't need to do that, right? And so then what happens? So now you just rely on just calling the iqamah and praying. As the more you neglect the thing, the more it disappears and it's no longer practice. That's the point. That's the case in point of everything that's being mentioned, right? But one thing that the one thing that I won't stand on the sideline to watch is people who don't look for the moon criticize and critique the people who spend their time to look for the hilal. Because actually, the people who look for the hilal is doing the rest of the country a service. Because it's a fard kifaya. If nobody looks for the hilal, which is already heading in that direction, then everybody's at fault until somebody does it. You can't start. That's one of the earlier tenets with regards to fasting. You have to know when it's Ramadan. You have to know. You can't guess. This is why the Prophet ﷺ said, the one who fasts Yom al-Shek, the day of doubt, has disobeyed Abu Qasim. You can't just say, well, I'm going to fast today and tomorrow just in case it's today, and I ain't know it was today and tomorrow. So that means that you have to have what? You have to have certainty that time is that it's that time, right? So this is the whole point. So who's really wrong? The person who don't look, who just sits around and scrolls all day and looks, and then critiques and criticizes the people who puts in that work. That's who's wrong. If you just want to go with somebody else just because it's convenient, easy for you, then say that. And just don't call it a sunnah, right? I remember when Brother Ahmed and Imam Naeem, they wrote that book on moon sighting, and they closed it out. They closed it out and said, listen, this whole thing of, global sighting is a bid'ah, right? And so I happened to be in a meeting, they due to was absent, where they was ready to have my head, like, oh, you call us a mubtadi, it's innovation. Well, it's not a sunnah. It ain't. And don't refer to it as one. Never do. It's just better to just leave it, and just say, look, I'm not kidding. But just don't attribute it to the Prophet ﷺ. So that's a good question. For all communication shut down. Absolutely. And this is what we was talking about. And this is the other thing, just to add to this. And then after this, I'm done, right? Things, when you're studying fiqh doesn't mean you're studying at the bare base. When you're studying those metans, that's what they're called, the books of fiqh, right? The basic ones. Those are things at bare bones, right? So, like for instance, when you're talking about istinja and istibra, when going to the restroom, right? It's impermissible to utilize the bathroom in the direction of the qibla or having your back to the direction of the qibla when you use the bathroom, right? That's one rule, okay? When you talk about istibra, right? Wiping yourself after you utilizing the bathroom, do they mention toilet paper in the books, right? That's a rhetorical question, but Saleh, you can attest to that, right?
Yeah, I can attest
They
to that.
They don't mention toilet paper.
No.
They mention 3 smooth rocks.
3 smooth rocks or water.
But we don't use toilet paper. I mean, we use toilet paper, so we don't utilize the rocks. Are we wrong? No, we're not wrong, right? So when it comes to all of this, we start advancing. Well, I'll just call over to California, or I'll just call such and such, because some of them that mentioned, like, and I was mentioning this earlier to good brother Saleh, is that Imam Nawawi is very, very explicit in specifying that it has to be basically under 48 miles, right? The person who fasts, the person who's fasting and traveling, you have to be traveling over this amount in order not to fast. And some people, I don't know if this is a criteria in the Shafi school, but I know in the Maliki school, you have to make the niyyah to travel before the
Before
fast
you
coming, it
travel,
has
yeah,
to,
yeah,
before the
yeah,
fast even, before the day of
that's the same
fasting
thing.
comes.
That's
You
the
make
same
the
thing in
niyah at
Shafi school.
Maghrib. You can't just wake up, you know, one morning, 11 in the afternoon, you know, just before the same thing with Juma. You know, just before Juma, like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and go to New York City, so I'm gonna break my fast today. I'm gonna break my fast right now. No, it has to be made. That intention has to be made then, and then when you return back, you have to remake your intention to be a person fasting Ramadan. So this is what I'm saying. Look at, there's a whole lot of things connected to this whole Hilal situation. And there's a lot of stuff that people are leaving out, you know, and we're just like just trusting these individuals. Meanwhile, the people that are right in front of you, we're discarding them and we don't trust them no more. You see what I'm saying? So with that, I'm about to be done because tonight's my last night and I'm about to break fast and we gonna boogie woogie tomorrow at the Eid, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I
Yo,
listen to
is it a crown
my
fried?
sons. They talking about they getting fly with it. So you know, I gotta see these dudes. You know,
Is
I
it a
gotta
crown
see what they
fried
doing.
chicken? Is it a
Huh?
crown fried chicken near the masjid?
Crown fried. Now we got Texas over there.
Where?
On 60th and Woodland.
That's 60th, man. You're on like 48th, man. I ain't close.
That's close enough.
Bro, that's like 12 blocks, man.
Bro, the closest Crown Fried might be either South Philly or over there off of 40th Street. Neither one of them are close to us. We just go to Texas. So, you know, but we don't want to neglect the sunnah. Hold on a second. Yes, neglecting, absolutely. Neglecting the sunnah will hurt your akhirah, especially for the salah. And the sunnah helps out the physical. Absolutely. Absolutely. These things are important. Like I mentioned it today in the khutbah, you know, there's one thing where action is accepted, but then you want it to be accepted with the barakah as well. And sometimes we do not even care about the barakah, right? Think about it. Most people, most men avoid praying in the masjid, right? They'll pray at home. The salah is still valid at home, but where's the barakah? How much of a reward is the man getting by praying at home? He gets about one thawab. But if he prayed in the congregation, he gets 27. When he's on his way to the masjid, the angels are making dua for him. He makes wudu before that. The angels making dua, asking Allah Ta'ala forgive him, and so on and so forth. But we don't care about that as long as you just pray. That's all that matters, right? So you see what's happening. We're taking away from the very essence of the deen. Taking away from the essence of the deen. And the only thing that everybody seems to be happy about, alhamdulillah, I ain't got to fast 15 hours no more, man. I can eat and drink when I want to. Alhamdulillah, I can drink my coffee. Right? No,
We
that
forgot about
joint
that
is
six.
supposed to be a spiritual thing, bro.
We forgot about that 6 days of Shawwal, right?
Oh, 6 days of Shawwal, forget about it. You know, like these things are like slowly but surely leaving us. So who's at fault? Who's wrong? I'll tell you who's wrong. Those people who don't look for that hilal at all. Those people that don't look for it at all. And I'm not talking about the everyday 9 to 5 people. I'm talking about them people that's just running around. If you're a person that don't look for the hilal and you just sending out text messages, you're part of the problem. If you're not looking for it, you just send out text messages, that's part of the problem. If there's a network of leaders, then leaders need to be able to call each other, and that leader back in your locale should be able to announce that. It shouldn't be no problem with that. But the problem is, it's like Wild Wild West. Everybody's shooting from the hip, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, which already puts the pressure. You know how people used to think back in the day? About moon sighting? Whatever day the Salafis went, the rest of the Muslims was going to go the opposite day.
Malik, I'm already outside, bro. You ain't outside,
You
man.
know
I'm
what I'm saying?
outside.
Malik at the man shit. I'm the
I'm
only one
out.
that ain't at the man shit.
I'm outside. B, I'm outside. B, I'm outside.
We
I'm outside the
outside.
masjid. I'm outside already.
So, these are the things that, that play part. But anyway, alhamdulillah, enjoy your day. I'm officially saying, giving the salams and the Eid Mubarak, right? But I just want to say this one thing. I know I can't reach the world, but y'all can help me reach other people, right? I know most people, when they get corrected, they be like, this boy, he must be one of them Salafis, or he must be a Wahhabi, right? If you're going to say Eid Mubarak, Eid Kareem, all that, give the salams first. The Prophet ﷺ said, As-salamu qabla kalam, that the salams is before the speech, right? Eid, all those things are all dua. They come after you give the salam to the person. Right? That's the only thing I got to say about it. I'm
Oh,
not worried about what Ben Baz,
oh,
what they mean and them say. They say what
Imam
they say.
Khalil.
There's even, matter of fact, hold on 1 second before I lose this point. There is even arguments amongst the Sunni ulama about should you say those things, to be honest with you. So it's not, it's not like it shouldn't be trigger words for you. Somebody be like, yo, Eid Mubarak. What do you mean Eid Mubarak? Right? So it shouldn't be trigger words. And if somebody rejects it, you shouldn't be that upset because there's position, within it for that. But what was you gonna say, Saleh?
No, what was I about to say, man? You got me all. Oh yeah, where's the brother from that was? You remember the brother that was on the Imam's round table? The sheikh that, and it was giving him a little bit of problems. What's the brother name, man? The African American brother.
I don't remember what you're talking about right now.
He's you remember he was giving him a hard time on the Imam's round table one day, man, laughing and joking about him or something like that.
Imam Lukman?
Not Imam Lukman.
No,
Not
the brother Mustafa Bey.
Oh, Mustafa Bey. Okay. Yeah, what
Is
about
that his name? Is that his name, Mustafa Bey? Scholar, brother. He's scholarly, right?
No.
What's the
No, I don't know who you talking about now.
You know who I'm talking about, man. He spotted it and he put up a picture up, man. He was on the Imam round table one time, man.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think they went off his opinion too. I'm not sure.
Yeah, digging the archives. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna dig in the archives. I'm gonna be Mr. Petty Draws gonna put his draws on later today.
But yeah, so inshallah, I'm about to give the brothers.
I want.
Yo, where you go? Where you going, Abu Muhammad? Where you going, man?
I'm ready to go grab some food from Texas and come back.
Here, well, I'm about to give you some money then, brother, man.
No, I got it.
My Ibn's still there.
He got some. He balling.
Huh?
My Ibn's ain't show up yet.
Huh?
Did my Ibn show up yet?
No, they ain't showed up yet.
I think they still down at the ball court. All right, I'm about to get ready to come over that way.
All right, assalamu alaikum.
All right, wa alaikum salam.
Okay.
Oh, yo, hold on. The program.
I wanted to make my
Go ahead, make your point, man. Inshallah, barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
About the astronomers. Right now, the reason why I brought that up is one, like I said, because it's in the books of fiqh. But every time we go out and sight the Hilal in Philadelphia, it's always a brother that says, well, the new moon came in, all of this stuff. You know what I mean? It's hard for you to see it. Yet still we see it. The thing is that the person who is an astronomer, even though they know when the moon is supposed to be born, is not the fast don't start when the moon is born. The fast start when we sight the moon, right? So if they know when the moon is born, they still have to start their fast when the moon is sighted, not when it's born. Though if they did start their fast, they started by themselves and they can't make this obligatory on the whole ummah. You know what I'm saying? It's only for them. The same way if they end it, right? They know when it's the new month. If the halal for the new month haven't been seen, then you know what I'm saying, we can't go with that. And that, you know what I'm saying, and I had mentioned that in my class last night. You know what I mean, about that. However, even though they have the knowledge, but they still, you know what I'm saying, it's still obligatory to follow the sunnah. You know what I mean? And that's the whole point. And I always like Khalil always says, when you following the sunnah, you lose people. You don't lose them until you start following the
sunnah. Sighting is visual, Malika. That born is that it exists, but it's not sighted. But the hadith states in the verse states sighted. You have to see it. That's the only difference.
The moon being born is that the moon is born, but you have, you know what I'm saying, you have to sight it. If it's born and you don't see it, then you still can't start the fast.
Exactly. You have to visually see it.
because the sunnah, what the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, what Allah Ta'ala says, what the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, the rules of the religion applies that you have to see it.
But yeah, we good to go, man. Inshallah ta'ala, I'll see you when you get in, man.
All right, subhanaka Allahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati ma yasifun wa salamun ala mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin wa salatu wa salam ala rasulil kareem. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Malik salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.